Boom shakalaka, everybody's panicking right now. The market's down. News is talking about cycle tops. Traders are selling their Bitcoin at a loss, and everyone is losing their mind, except for some veteran traders saying, keep selling your Bitcoin, idiots. And I quote. We'll get into all that later. Stay tuned. What's up, everyone? Randall here from Crypto Love. Today's video, people are panicking. The market's in the red. People are thinking the top is in. But some veteran traders with maybe a little bit more wisdom are saying keep selling your Bitcoin, idiots. We'll get into exactly why and when this next explosive move is set to come. Before we get into it, like the video, join us on Twitter with @CryptoLove, and of course subscribe to the OG Bitcoin and Crypto YouTube channel, making videos since 2017. Now, if we take a look, the past week, market is red. Things are down. It seemed like it wasn't too long ago, a couple weeks ago, Bitcoin was at 122,000 and everyone thought it was going up, and then now all of a sudden 106,000, everybody thinks the top is in, it's over. Well, where are we going? Interestingly enough, we were talking about this back on October 2nd when Timothy Peterson posted this chart right here, saying that basically when you take a look at the entire year up to October, it helps to predict what October actually does. So October historically has amplified prior momentum. The stronger Bitcoin performs throughout the first 9 months, the stronger October tends to be. For this year, with January to September up 20%, this is the weakest bull market year ever, suggesting October could still be weak compared to prior years. Based on that, looks like between 122,000 and 149,000. And guess what? We hit the lowest one already. Could the highs be in for October? They certainly could. And with that, some people are even calling for a cycle top, because if you remember the easy Bitcoin sell strategy, you buy 500 days before the halving, you sell 500 days after the halving, every time you make a good amount of money. It said sell on September 2nd, I think, sometime around then. So based on that, you should be out of Bitcoin right now just holding cash, waiting for 500 days before the next halving to buy back in. But if you do that, might you be missing out on one of the biggest moves for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency to come this year? Because some people, like myself, think that, well, the real cycle hasn't even begun. We've just been going sideways at this point. If we take a look at some charts to defend my point, like the Pi Cycle Top Indicator, this one nowhere close to a top. When it gets close to a top, you see it turns this tan orange color. Has not hit that color yet. As a matter of fact, we're much closer, I would say, to this bluish purple color to a bottom than a top. This is the farthest apart these two lines, the 350-day SMA times 2 and the 111-day SMA, have been after a halving. So, is the Pi Cycle Top Indicator wrong? Well, it could be, but maybe, but depending on the halving alone, could also be wrong. Here's another congregation of right now 9 different indicators, including Pi Cycle Top Indicator, Ruppel Knuppel, Rodel Ratio, Puel Multiple, 2-year moving average, Bitcoin Trololo, MVRVZ score, reserve risk, and the Wobble Top Cap, saying right now we are not at top territory. We're right around, I think, 72. Yeah, 72 today on cbbi.info historic chart, not suggesting a top. This is not top territory. This is second top territory from the last time, or pre-top territory from 2017. I tend to think that what we saw right here in 2019 was similar to what was seen back in March of 2024. Reminded me very similarly. It was like an early frothiness and the market just cooled off completely. So my feeling is that we've just been cooling off kind of like this 2019 thing before we've seen any type of parabolic move since then. And if we just take a look at that line, just suggesting that that could be what's going on, you can see right here we have the 2019 summer peak right there. And if we take a bar pattern from there, overlay it with the peak back in March, guess what? The parabolic top has not occurred yet. If we line it up a little bit, look at that. It would be coming very, very soon, starting within the next few months. But there are some more interesting charts to take just than my gut feeling, because I mean, I've only been in it for 8 years at this point, so what would I know? If we take a look, Bitcoin in October. So far, it's been a terrible October. We're a little bit more than halfway through. I'll say 2/3 of the way through. Well, most of the upside occurs after the 15th. Taking a look at this, especially after the 20th. So coming up for the end of October, that's when most of the upside happens. And if we take a look at the year, 60% of Bitcoin's full performance occurs after October 3rd. So most of Bitcoin's performance hasn't even happened yet. It's only had 16 days so far to achieve 60% of what it normally does. 75% of annual outcomes wind up in the green box. That green box is much higher than we are right now. Take a look at 2025 down here in the red. There's a lot of upward territory to go. And if we take a look, it could be that Bitcoin is held back, not because of anything inherently wrong with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, but just because of the macro cycle. Timothy Peterson here, same guy who predicted that October would probably be a pretty bad month. He's saying that the Bitcoin cycle isn't over because the macro upcycle hasn't even started yet. And he says it's not started because rates are too high. Now, that's not an opinion on it, but either rates must fall or Bitcoin must fall or both. But signs indicate the former, being rates, more likely to fall. And when that happens, Bitcoin goes up. As a matter of fact, if we take a look right now, based on the NASDAQ recovery after VIX equals 55, it would suggest that there's another 6 more weeks of volatility before we see any upward move once again. So that would put us roughly around December, when things normally go parabolic for Bitcoin, for that to happen. And if we take a look, Timothy Peterson, quoted here, saying, "Keep selling your Bitcoin, idiots." Everyone right now is saying the cycle is over, and even the bad scenarios have a 50% upside from here. The bad scenarios, $160,000. The good scenarios, $240,000. The average scenarios, $200,000 by June 11th. Now, I also want to note something here. He has this date, June 11th. Very interesting date, because a long time ago, I don't remember how long ago, but I took a look at the width of the pi cycle top lines, the gap between them. And based on that gap, it told me there was somewhere between, I think, 6 and 17 months, averaging 11 months. And at that point, 11 months would have put us June or July, which I guess I would have made the video in July or August of this past year. And based on that, June or July for a top. Now, also, if we take a look at this right here, if we take a look, not the first peak, but the first peak would line up with December, January, which is normal for a Bitcoin peak. But the second peak right there, guess what? July, August, same time frame as he's talking about there. So, me personally, I still think there's a lot of upside to go, but keep on selling Bitcoin, because the longer it takes, and that's all there is. And that's the end of this video. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, like, subscribe, check out our shorts. I'll catch you later. Have a good one. Love you. Peace.
Boom. Shakalaka.
If you don't think Bitcoin's going to $1 million a coin and then $10 million a coin, you're already a loser.
From now on, if you don't own Bitcoin, you're a moron.